everybody. Welcome back to our class, our virtual school. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about our reading lesson. So hopefully you have read the second part of the story from our reading selection. Let's see what page it was on. Pages 170 to 174. And this story was called God's Promised Son Brings Hope. So, the last time we read the beginning part of this story, we talked about how Jesus, or we didn't talk about, but we read about how Jesus proved himself to be God's son through the parables that he taught and the miracles that he did. And people were amazed around him at just these amazing things that he was doing. And so today, this story that you have just read is talking about the darkest day. Basically, Jesus preparing to die and letting his disciples know that he was going to die for the sin of everybody. And then it ends where Jesus is being placed in the tomb. So what you all are going to do today is something called making inferences, or you are going to infer when you read the story. So you might be saying, what does that mean? That's a great question. What does this word mean? When we infer something, we use text evidence to make a conclusion. So let me give you an example. Let's say that there is a mystery, and you hear that in the kitchen cabinet, something went missing. The chocolate chips went missing, and you're like, where did they go? You want to solve this mystery. Now you need to make some inferences or infer what happened, but you can't do that without evidence. So let's say that you see, my little baby brother was in the kitchen yesterday. I think he stole them. Is that good evidence that he stole them or took the chocolate chips? No, of course not. You don't have any proof that he did. Or let's say you see some mice run across the kitchen floor. You're like, oh, they must have stolen it. That's not a good conclusion either, because you don't really have evidence that they were the ones eating. Good evidence would be to find the chocolate chip bag in somebody's room and chocolate smeared all over their mouth. That would be really good evidence, and that would help you make an inference about who stole the chocolate chips or who ate them. So today, what you are going to be doing is inferring with this story. So let's look at an example here, or let's practice, okay? So the first one, I have a question for you, and instead of making a guess and being like, well, I think, we don't want to do that. We want to actually use our text evidence. So the question I have for you is, who were the disciples and how many were there? Now you could make a guess and be like, I think there were 50 disciples. But that's not making an inference. That's a guess. And we don't want to guess. We want to actually use our text evidence. We want to go back to our story. So you can grab your book open. And let's start where we began reading today. So let's go to page 170. That's a good place to start. Do you remember any part where it was talking about introducing the disciples? Ooh, I just spotted something. Did you? I see the word disciples, so maybe it tells us how many there were. Anybody see it? All right, I'll read it for you right here on page 170. It says, though many people listened to Jesus, there were 12 men who were his special followers. They were called disciples. So there we use text evidence to infer, make a conclusion of how many disciples there were. We know exactly how many there were because we actually have evidence in the story for them. So that's one way that we can infer. We just use the text evidence. Now let's look at another question. The next question is, which disciple didn't believe in Jesus very much and he actually betrayed him? Betrayed him means to go behind his back and give him away. Okay, so let's find out which disciple was named. So we need to look for a name of a disciple who did something really wrong. Let's start looking on page 170. I don't see anybody's name. Oop, there is one, and it starts with a J. His name's Judas. Now let's keep looking through our story here for some other people's names. There are a couple other people named here, but none of them are disciples. So the only disciple that was mentioned is Judas. Let's read a little bit about Judas and decide, make a conclusion, or infer if he's the one that betrayed Jesus. Let's see. One of Jesus's disciples also did not believe that Jesus was God's son. It says it right there. That disciple was named Judas. Boom, we got it. We just made an inference. We inferred using our text evidence, and we made a conclusion. The disciple that did not believe in Jesus was named Judas. So see how we did that? Today, what you guys are going to be doing is doing this on your own when you do your little worksheet. And I want you to actually use your text evidence. So go back to the story and reread portions of it to look for clues to help you answer the questions. Now, you don't want to just go back and reread the whole thing. You want to actually look for specific words or names of people or different events that will help you answer the questions that your assignment is asking you. So hopefully that makes sense. Now you can pause right there. You can either pause this video and go do that assignment, or you can keep watching to learn our phonics lesson. So I'm going to transition to talk to you about our phonics. So what we have here today is a special type of word ending. And that word ending, if I can move this down a little bit, is T-I-O-N. Now, there's a trick about this. The T-I-O-N does not actually make its real sound that you would think it would make. You don't even hear a T in this ending. It actually makes the shun sound. Okay? Now, you might be looking at this E right here and say, wait a minute, Miss Crook, you wrote that really wrong. I did, but I also did not. That is going to show us that it makes a special short U sound. So let's look at some examples here. We have the word action, fraction, emotion, nation, question. Each of those have the ending T-I-O-N, but you don't actually hear each of those letters. It makes its own new sound. The shun sound. Now that seems a little bit strange, but the reason you're learning this is so that you can recognize that words that end in each of these spellings all say the same sound. And you don't want to pronounce it like this. Action. And that's not how you pronounce that word. It's a special sound for those letters that make their own sound. So today you're also going to be looking at a couple of these words on your own and working with them. But remember that you say this ending really quickly. Action, fraction, emotion, nation, question. You say it really quickly. So basically, later on in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, you'll be learning a lot more of these words. But there's a trick. You can remember that they always say their own special sound. And these letters, T-I-O-N, are usually attached to really long words. And you might be like, how do you pronounce that really long word like conclusion or exaggeration? Those are really long words. But if you can figure out that this says its own special sound, then you only have to pronounce the first part of the word like action. The first part you would only have to figure out how to pronounce. So if you know the ending for that special sound, then it'll help you be able to sound out the rest of the word a little bit easier. So you're also going to do some practice with this phonics lesson today too. So good luck with the rest of your reading, and I will see you on Zoom calls today.